Well, to Derek in the Midwest. Derek, how you doing tonight?
What's up, man? I'm not doing too bad. How you been?
I could be better, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Whatever, make it through and whatnot, because we have a world to change. But I guess tonight, if you'll let me get into Tsarion, we can get into some of that stuff. Start with you.
Well, sure. I mean, as you know, no topic is off limits on this show, and if you have some information on Michael Tsarion that you want to share with the audience, feel free to do so.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say that this is so important, exposing false patriots and researchers in the movement that are out there trying to mislead people who are trying to make real progress. These are the people that we need to expose, because these are the people that are misdirecting the people who actually care. These are the people that are going to be responsible for bringing in the one world religion, for bringing in the next American Civil War that we do believe is being whipped up right now. And that's a lot of people just don't seem to understand why, you spend so much time on things like Jones, and why, we were, making a big deal out of the Fitzgerald We Are Change issue. We're making, a big deal out of stuff like this because these are the people that are out there that are going to lead us down the exact path that we shouldn't be led down. I mean, these are, in all reality, some of the most important people that we can expose, even as important, as exposing, people like the president and the people above the president, the banksters and the rest, because these are the people that are going to be, directing the masses into, doomsday, essentially, in the next Civil War.
Sure. And Jones, as far as I'm concerned, is definitely one of the most important figures to expose, because this man, he has a lot of traffic on his websites. He has a lot of listeners. He is getting links from the Drudge Report to his websites. And people believe that this guy is doing some great service for people who don't like this system that is being put into place. And I can assure you, if you research what this guy has done over the past 10 years, you take a look at his track record of threatening to sue other people that are researchers and try and put out information, we can go on and on. This guy is certainly no good. And he is absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most dangerous figures that is involved in any of this. And absolutely, he needs to be exposed. But we have a real good track record of him. I'm convinced of this with the Council for National Policy Information. And I know you want to talk about Tsarion tonight. And I have not had the chance to look too much more into some of the stuff that you've sent. But if you have some additional information for me to look at, feel free to give it out to the audience.
All right, sounds good. Let's see here. First, and I am in the chat room, and I am going to be posting links as I go through this, so if anybody wants to hop in the chat room and scoop up the links and see what's going on, they can do so. I have some video clips that are time-marked, paused at exact spots that I have prepared, so there are some things that they can link to, and they might have to search through a little bit to find the exact portion of the clip that I use, but everything that I use here I will have links to going up in the chat room.
Okay, out of curiosity, just real quick, are these clips of Tsarion actually saying something? Or is it researcher or filmmaker? Or can you give us a little bit of a preface?
Yeah. Sure. The clips that I'm going to be using will be towards the ending, and the clips are clips of Tsarion speaking on his DVD sets. He's got the Origins and Oracle series, and he's got like a bunch of other, I didn't even know half the DVDs that he's got out. Like, he's got Origins and Oracle, which is like this extravagant 8 or 10 disc set, sells for like upwards of $300 some, and then, I didn't know it, but he's actually got a bunch of other stuff, and on his website, like, he's got 7 out of 9 links on the front page of his website are Buy My Stuff links. And that's kind of odd in itself to me. But, yeah, a lot of the clips that I'm using will be Tsarion speaking on his DVD series or on different presentations that he's been given. There's an expose that somebody named Chris White did on Tsarion. He's done numerous videos on him, and there are certain pieces of information from some of his stuff. I want to give him full credit because, I mean, I own research and some of the clip work is Chris White. So I want to make sure that he gets full credit for that.
Okay, and Chris White, just real quick, Chris White's the guy that's accusing Tsarion of being a Rosicrucian. Is that correct?
Well, first of all, I don't want to say he's accusing him of being a Rosicrucian. He has Rosicrucian connections, undoubtedly and provably, for sure. Is he a Rosicrucian? Exactly, I'm not sure, but he absolutely had to be a member, if not still is a member of one, if not various mystery schools, as he references the Order of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley heavily as being like one of his not necessarily personal mentors, but I guess, people that he really looked up to and things like that. He's a gigantic apologist for Aleister Crowley, as well as, like I said, mentioning the Golden Dawn. And then I did some research into the Golden Dawn, and I found out that the Golden Dawn is directly connected to the Rosicrucian. In fact, if you go to the news section of the Golden Dawn's webpage, the first thing that pops up on the news section is an advertisement for this year's Rosicrucian Order gathering, basically, conference.
Okay. I'll have to look at these videos. It's hard for me to when I'm on air, it's hard for me to look at all this information, but I'll take a look at it after I get off air.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. On the first link that I'm putting up, that's just a link to Michael Tsarion's site, and like I said, on the front of his site, he's got links to the Origins and Oracle series, Buy My Stuff. Then he's got the next link. Oops, I accidentally closed the tab. Reopen. Okay. Then he's got the next link is to his Unslaved series, and I'll put that link up in the chat room. It's another series of DVDs that he's done kind of work and books. This guy writes a lot, makes a lot of films. It almost seems like he's on the Jones level with as much as he is working or produces. And we both know that Jones is producing upwards of 3 or 4 films per year, which is basically humanly impossible to do. I don't care who you are, but nobody is making if you could do that and do it seriously and do it well, Michael Moore would make 4 films a year, and he doesn't. So we can't, even pretend that that's possible without some sort of outside help.
Well, I'll say one thing about Jones. He's got a huge staff. He certainly has a lot of financial backing that's allowing him to put out all these films. Tsarion's work hasn't been in the same league in terms of the type of production that's been put into his films. They're a lot more low budget. So I'm not sure if we can put Tsarion in the same realm as Jones because of just the way his films are produced versus Tsarion's. That's just my initial impression. His Origins and Oracles series was pretty low budget. Was it R1 Architects of Control? Fairly low budget, a little more sophisticated. But I think the Jones films are just more sophisticated, all the technology they put into it, all the money they put into it. I'm not sure if you agree, but that's kind of how I see it.
Well, I definitely, absolutely agree that Jones looks like he has more funding and he's got fancier graphics and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the set that Tsarion is produced on, it's obviously a set that costs some money. That wasn't put up by the average Joe, and I know that it's a Red Ice Creation set, I believe. I don't know if it's a bunch of people that do Red Ice stuff use it, or if it was just for Tsarion and he used it as well or whatever. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a Red Ice thing, or at least he was.
We have to break, Derek. We got to break. We're about to get cut off. But I'll hold you over and we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us, everybody. We have Derek from the Midwest on the line, and we're talking about some of Michael Tsarion's work, and I guess trying to determine if he is on the level or what is actually going on with Michael Tsarion. And I don't know, Derek. I guess the one difference that I see, that I notice between people like Tsarion and somebody like Jones, and it's a pretty obvious one, is that Jones really spreads the fear. He really puts it on thick, whereas Tsarion has a much more positive message. And I know that might seem a little superficial, but in the same respect, Tsarion sells his DVDs, he sells his books and his material. And I don't really have a problem with that. It's his intellectual property. If he puts it out, so be it. I don't fault him for that. But I'm still trying to figure out, okay, well, I mean, is there any smoking gun evidence that we have here that indicates that this guy is not on the level? And I don't know. I have to look at your material more in-depthly, but right now I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. Maybe you can convince me otherwise, but with Jones, I know there's a ton. I mean, it's obvious. But to Tsarion, I'm not sure I'm seeing it.
Well, no, and this is honestly, we've been through like 5 minutes of info. This is like nothing compared to, what I'm going to get into if I got the time, or after you check out the stuff and see what you think of it. But no, like I said, he's a huge apologist for Aleister Crowley. He's got connections to the Golden Dawn, which is directly related to Rosicrucianism, which the Rosicrucian degree is an offshoot of Freemasonry. It's an optional degree after you pass, I believe, all 32 or 32 of the Scottish Rite or 13 of the York Rite. As Fitzgerald was talking about the Shriner degree being an optional degree after those degrees as well. There are many optional degrees once you reach a certain point in Freemasonry. Rosicrucianism is one of those degrees as well, and the Golden Dawn is directly connected to those. Like I said, you can go to the Golden Dawn's website and check that out, and I'll throw that link up in the chat room, as a matter of fact, right now, since we're talking about it. And there that one goes. But we have a We Are Change Chicago member in the chat room. I just want to say congratulations, man, to him for being a We Are Changer who's, getting on the right page and all that stuff. And hopefully he's going to go back and talk to plenty of people about stuff like this and about people like Fitzgerald and about, things of that nature, because these are the people, like we've been saying, that we need to wake up and get on the right page, because these are the people that are going to be fomenting this, upcoming garbage BS revolution that's going to do only bad things. So I'm really glad to see somebody in the chat room from WAC Chicago. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. But what we can do here is, let's see, Tsarion, were you aware that Tsarion does teach his own mystery school?
Teaches his own mystery school. I was not aware of that. Do you have a link to that anywhere on his website? Is this something we can easily confirm?
Yeah, this is absolutely. Here's the link. I'm going to throw this up right now. This is the link to Terrascopes.com. He teaches the tarot cards and the Kabbalah heavily. This is all admitted. Everything I'm talking about you can read by going to Terrascopes.com. Go through, it says video tours, mystery school, card meanings, terrascopic readings, Terrascope series. He's got a series called Terrascopes where he goes into the tarot, astrology, numerology, and the Kabbalah, as well as other things. And that's absolutely, that's his own work. I mean, he's not hiding it. This is all stuff that you can find right through finding his site. I mean, you go to michaeltsarion.com, then you click on the links from that site, and you have the, I said there are like 7 Buy My Stuff links. Well, you got those, and then one of those links will take you to Terrascopes, which is his mystery school, which of course you have to pay for as well. And then if from the Terrascopes, what do we got here? Let me just find my place. I apologize.
Sure. Well, Derek, if I can jump in here real quick, I just want to say one thing. I have to say this one thing that I think is interesting about this, and that's the fact that I'm looking at the website right now, actually, is that he's doing this out in the open, which I think is certainly much more preferable than what the elites and what the priest class does, in which they do all this stuff behind the scenes. It's not open to all. That seems to be the difference that I see with what Tsarion is doing and what the elites do. I mean, I don't have a problem if somebody is researching or studying this type of information. I mean, that's fine. Even if it is the Kabbalah or any of this other stuff that you see that a lot of these people in the elite hierarchy study as well. But I think that's the main difference that we're seeing here. At least he's doing it out in the open, which I think is not a bad thing. You might disagree, though.